Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost, amen. My dear Londoners, it's a great joy for me to come and help out this little Mass Center of London, help you out. It's an immense consolation for our priesthood to come everywhere and see that once more the devil was not able to succeed into demolishing the Catholic faith. And for this Catholic faith, we have to say plenty of no's. We have to say no to the Novice Ordo Church, which is now terminally ill. If Pope Francis is openly pro-gay, what else can be said? Beyond what, they cannot go much beyond what they are doing today. And it's absolutely demonstrated that we have nothing to do with them. And it's the same thing with the poor society of St. Pius X. I just learned, I'm not telling you the long litany that we've been witnessing for 2 years. I'm just telling you what I learned yesterday. The Father Angles is using canon law. They are using the code of canon law. They are using the marriage cases. They are solving the marriage cases by using the new code. That's in the 6 conditions. Bishop Hillary recently said the 6 conditions are not that bad. One of them is that the marriage tribunals of second instance, that is the real tribunals, first instance is only the local, figuring out of a marriage, and usually it goes in second instance, or frequently goes to second instance. But if you hand over the second instance tribunals to the Novice Ordo, it means that you are following the new code, in the worst part of the new code, which is the inversion of the ends of marriage. And I was told by a priest yesterday that Father Angles, he says, yes, this is what we are doing. In all things, in all important canonical matters, we are referring to the Roman tribunals and officialities, and we are following the new code. And I do this in order to make a bridge. That is, his end is, less to be, in that so-called delusional canonical regularity that they are aspiring to. But essentially, we are using canon law in order to build a bridge with the Novice Ordo Church, with the official church. And how can we? We are not under this law. This law is a violence which is made to the Catholic Church. It's not a law. It's not legitimate. So that's why we have to do what we have to do. And that's the last things I've been able to find out is the use that they are making of this demolition law, which is the new code of canon law. And recently also I met ex-confreres, and they say Vatican II is legitimate. Of course, we don't agree with everything in it, but it's legitimate. So we have to say no to the society. We have to. It's different. It's not anymore what we used to do. And we have to say no also to the sedevacantist option, because it's a disease, and it's the same premise as the Novice Ordoism. That is, authority cannot be wrong. Therefore, if authority is wrong, we either follow authority in its wrongness, or authority is not authority anymore. No. Our faith does not come from authority. The authority is a channel which is used in normal times for the faith to be taught. But our faith is the prime truth coming from God. We believe in the Catholic faith because of the authority of the revealing God. But not because of authority. That's called, juridical positivism. That's the positivist mentality. That authority has to be right all the time, or that authority is right all the time. And that authority can never be a means of perdition at times. Which it is in the case of Caiaphas and in the case of Saul. In the breviary, we are reading the story of Saul, who through Doeg the Idumean massacres the high priests. And Saul is left by divine right. He falls, and he fell. God took him down, just like God took down the priesthood of the Old Testament, but they fell in God's time. And this is what the authors that the Sedevacantists are quoting us repeat over and again, it's by divine right. If they do, those authors who say that, it's by divine right. And we are not going to take the divine right in our own hands. It's God's business to leave wicked men in positions of authority. And of course, we are not going to follow them. But it's God's business. These are fragile human beings, liable to sin and liable to be unfaithful to their mandate. But we are not going to follow these and it's costing us. It's costing the resistance. And we did not start our stance in 2012 in order to deviate from the position of Archbishop Lefebvre. Because the papacy is the instrument by which Our Lady is going to rebuild the church. The papacy is included in the Fatima message. And so we cannot do without the papacy. There is no papacy left with the Sedevacantist option. Even with the bizarre theory of the material papacy of Bishop Gérard Deslauriers and Bishop Sanborn. And there are plenty of other inconsistencies. We cannot lead you to this path. It's not possible. Because we are going to self-demolish. And we are going to make a religion of this one issue, which is just a debated issue among theologians, which puts us under no obligation. It is just, and there is no clear answers. The more you dig into this problem, the more you find conflicting answers, and it's not telling us what next. Especially St. Robert Bellarmine. He's not telling us what's next because he says that the Pope will have to be deposed by the Council of Bishops or the Cardinals. So even St. Robert Bellarmine doesn't fit with what the Sedevacantists are doing today. And I could go on and on and on with the authors who disagree with them, like St. John of St. Thomas, Cajetan, Billuard, and Garrigou-Lagrange, and many others. And those authors who have not even considered the possibility, because it was unheard of, our present situation is something which was unimaginable, that could not be even imagined by half of the authorities of times of old. The only thing that we have to do is to keep the faith and to keep the teachings of our Lord Jesus Christ. And that's why, recently I've been obliged to cut my bridges with my main publicist in France, because she wants to force me, or either by my silence, but she wants me not to condemn natural family planning, which is contraception. It is contraception under another name. There are those rare exceptions mentioned by Pius XII, but it is not the standard rule for families, and it should not be used in a widespread way, and it should be used with the permission of the confessors, with the permission of the church, because it's a great issue. And natural family planning has demolished the church in India and in many other places. And it is liberalism. And it's a liberalism that we find among the Sedevacantists. CMRI, for instance, is openly promoting it. Why? Because it's Pius XII. Well, that's 1950s liberalism. This is what is going to do. This one issue can demolish us single-handedly. Because we need large families. Because we are Catholics. We are opposed to all forms of contraceptions, and this one is a form of contraception, which can be used but only in extreme and dire circumstances, with permission. And so there again, we have to keep the same message. It's the same gospel, it's one God, one faith, one baptism. And we stand strong because of that message. It's so important. We've gone this far in the fight. We cannot go back. It would be so sad to abandon those tenets when we have gone so far and we are so close to the conclusion of this crisis. That is, God is pruning the tree. He's pruning the dead branches, and He's keeping the teaching that humanity expects from the Catholic Church. We cannot fail, because it will be a disservice to all those lost sheep that are out there and that are going to be united to the Catholic Church. But that supposes this fidelity to these invisible goods. And there is no charity without this Catholic faith. And so what you see is a charity of those priests who come to you, not mine, but that of Father Fuchs, Father Pfeiffer, and the other priests who come to visit you, will never abandon you. As long as we are around, we will never abandon you. I will give you the bulletin after the Mass, and you see all the Mass centers in Asia. We are not abandoning you. Until the end of times, you will have the assistance of the priesthood of our Lord Jesus Christ. Our Lord has given you the guarantee. If you are true to Him, He will be true to you. He will not fail you. So it's our immense joy to be with you, but we have to stand strong. And there are, storms ahead of us. I don't think there are many years to wait, but we do have this stand, and we cannot deviate. We did not start this fight in order to deviate from what we said previously. My engagements, my oaths are still valid, and I am still a society priest, you may say. And I am not fighting in a different way than I was fighting in the years before. And so pray very much for the success of this Avrier chapter, because the evidence is that there is a group of priests, bigger than when we started 2 years ago, that wants a Marian core, that wants to have a strong bond among themselves, which higher than a loose bond, which is also necessary for the independent priests. No question about it. But I am not going to fight as far as I am concerned, I am not going to fight in a different way than I was fighting prior to this crisis. Because the rule of Archbishop Lefebvre is wise. Few corrections on the mandate of the Superior General have to be made, yes. And more local entities, districts or areas, yes. But nothing more than that as far as changes are concerned. And this is what's happening among ourselves priests. But there are we are facing tribulations, and our position is vulnerable, and it is meant to be that way because the normal state is not there. That is, the unity of the Catholic Church is held normally, is a responsibility of the Roman Pontiff. He is the one who his job is not only to teach, but by his teaching to coalesce the unity of the Catholic Church. This cannot take place, and that's why there is this natural dispersion that is taking place. But it's inevitable. But by holding on to the faith, by holding on to the position of Archbishop Lefebvre, we are not causing dispersion. The proof was, and the proof is that Archbishop Lefebvre was able to build up the most powerful entity in the realm of tradition. And if this has worked for 40 years, it will continue to work the same way. They say you are illogical and everything. We are not illogical. We do not contradict the authorities. Because what the authorities said, the theological authorities, is that there is no clear answer. Why I think there is no clear answer to these things? It is because we have to hold on to the papacy. Because the papacy is an integral part of the constitution of the Catholic Church, which is a monarchy by divine right. So we have to hold on to that instrument, which is impaired, which is in a state of eclipse. It's impounded. That is, it is Right now it is not working, but it has to remain there. When God is going to take this tool again for the restoration of all things, that's God's business. Because it's by divine right that it is established, and it's by divine right that a member of it is deposed and replaced. We leave to God what is of God. As far as we are concerned, our only duty is to remain alive, is to keep the Catholic faith and to stay Catholics. That's the only thing that Archbishop Lefebvre asked the faithful. Look in your catechism, look in your things. Am I or am I not departing from tradition? And this is what Father Buffet told me. I am just telling Bishop Philip, because they are in the process of expelling him, I'm just telling them, you are departing from tradition. And therefore I am not with you anymore. I cannot be with you anymore. I cannot collaborate with you because you are departing. It's a simple question. We have not changed. We are not going to change anything. If I change anything, let I be, if I or an angel of God, if I change anything, let I be anathema. That's what St. Paul said. And he called the anathema upon himself. And that's the reason why our Lord chose Judas. And that's the reason why he upheld the authority of Caiaphas, all the while Caiaphas was denying his divinity and taking his confession of his divinity as a blasphemy. But at the same time, he was upholding the authority of Caiaphas. By doing so, our Lord confessed his divinity even more. So in bad days as in good days, the authority of Caiaphas, there was no good days in Caiaphas, but in good days as in bad days, God makes use of authority to uphold the Catholic faith. And this is how it will be remembered in the history of the Catholic Church. That the Catholic faith is indestructible. Nothing can happen to the Catholic faith. There is no tricks that the devil has conceived, none of his tricks have been able ever to destroy our indestructible Catholic faith. And your presence here, 20 of you or 20 plus, I don't know, your presence here is a witness to that. And I am celebrating this Mass in thanksgiving for this reality. That it is not gone, it is staying, and it is waxing stronger. Otherwise, we would not have 20 young men training for the priesthood in the world of resistance. Some in Avrier, to a couple at Don Thomas Aquinas, a couple at Don Jair, and 7 to 10 in Kentucky, 2 in the Philippines. Father Piver tells me he's got 2, and probably some others elsewhere, which adds up to 20 seminarians, which is not so bad. It's not something to cry about. It's always happy for us because we are bound to grow because we come from zero. But there is much to rejoice in our little world of resistance. And it's my joy and my honor to come and help you out here in London. 2 years ago, there was nothing. Today, there is something. The devil has failed once more. All he has succeeded to do is to show again the divinity, the divine nature of the Catholic Church, and the help that the Catholic Church receives from our Blessed Mother, whose heart is drawing ever closer to us as we go in the thicker part of the night. But we will stay with her. We will see through this night, illuminated by this shining moon of the love, the maternal love of the Mother of God herself, whose time is coming. This time, this night, and her triumph is all hers. It has been envisioned by our Lord Jesus Christ to glorify her mission as co-redemptrix and mediatrix of all grace. How? By showing that indeed she is the cause of the resurrection of the Catholic Church in the darkest of times. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen.